What's up, guys? Welcome to a new camera episode. Very excited right now. I may not be as cool as all the other YouTubers who somehow got their cameras like days or weeks early, but I finally got my R5 Mark II today. Literally, it just came like 10 minutes ago. So we're gonna get this thing open and I'm going to show you how I'm gonna set this thing up right out the box, and then we'll go do a little bit of wildlife. There it is. All right, so let's jump right into it. I'm gonna get this set up on here so I can show you guys all the things. I'm not gonna go through like every single menu ever, but I'm just gonna show you like all the things that I'm gonna set up right away so that I can walk out of here right now and go start taking some wildlife photos. Okay, let's change some things real quick. Definitely wanna change this to, I'm gonna do C-RAW and no JPEG. I'm gonna go ahead and change my color space to Adobe RGB. Oh, look at that, it comes default in electronic shutter, which I'm personally gonna leave it in. I'm definitely gonna turn this on, the blackout free display. Very handy. It's looking like by default this is coming with things that I want, so I want it in servo. Okay, so we're gonna come over here to Spot AF. I'm gonna go ahead, you can leave it in auto, but mostly I'm gonna leave this in animals. All right, so the case, they don't seem to have a case thing. I used to leave it in case 1, but we're gonna go to manual if this is the only way that I can do it. Then I'm gonna come in here and hit that rate button. I'm gonna drop the tracking sensitivity down to -2, and then I'm gonna drop this down to -1. That's gonna help it to not be so erratic, and hopefully it'll help it stick to our subjects more, like the birds and the animals. This isn't so much for wildlife, but I am going to turn this on because I do a lot of astro and other stuff with manual lenses where I want the manual focus peaking on. Alright, I'm going to come in here to file name for the stills, and I'm just going to change this to R5.2. So now you can see my user setting 1. That's just one of those little things. It doesn't really matter, but I have so many different cameras that makes it really easy when I'm shooting with multiple cameras. I'm going to go ahead and format the card since this is a new camera. I'm going to turn the beep off. It's wildlife. We don't like beeps. So auto power off. I'll change it to a minute. You can mess with that however you need to. Alright, now let's get into some custom buttons. So I'm going to do dual back button focus. So we're going to come in here and I'm going to take this off. We just want it to metering start for the trigger. I have a couple of options for this multifunction button. I'm going to talk about that later, so we're not going to worry about that right now. Alright, so my AF on button, I want this to be metering and AF start. For my star button, I want this to be my eye tracking. So I'll turn on my eye detection. Okay, depth of field preview button. This one's really important to me personally. I know a lot of other people have issues with this, but I'm not them and I don't care. I'm going to set my depth of field preview button to my crop mode. So that's this guy right here. I'm going to make sure that's turned on. That was turned off by default on the R5, and that kind of drove me crazy for a minute. Alright, next we're going to come in here to the third orange tab, continuous shooting speed. I know this might be blasphemy to some people because everyone's excited about 30, but I'm not. I don't usually need that much, so I'm just going to go with 20. Alright, so I think that's most of the things. Like I said, this isn't a deep dive for anything. This is literally just out of the box so that I can go shoot right now. that's everything that I want to do for the stills primarily. I'm going to go ahead and set my video to 4K 60, and then I'll probably set up the record button in C3 to record maybe 8K, probably 8K 30. That gives me a good range for video, but I'll talk about the video in another video. Let me know down below if you're actually interested in video settings, if you are a hybrid shooter, because there's a lot of new video features in here specifically. But for now, we're just concerned with photo stuff. Let's go over real quick why I do the back button and why I do it the way that I do it. There's a lot of ways to customize this. I know mine might be like a little different than either what you're used to or what other people are telling you to do. And I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just showing you how I, as a wildlife photographer for the last 15 years or whatever, set up. So the cool thing is you got a lot of options, and you know, whatever is going to make your hands the most comfortable. I have pretty large hands. I don't have any issues reaching any of the buttons anywhere. So for me, doing the AF on over here with my thumb, I use this joystick a lot, and this joystick to move around the single point and stuff like that. And so I typically like to have my AF on button as my single point because it's right next to the joystick, and this is my main focus. So this isn't just for wildlife too. Like, this is, I don't change my focus settings for anything that I do, and I do every type of photography that there is, both professionally and for personally. So when I'm doing landscape stuff, this AF on button acting as my single and servo, meaning that if I just one click the AF on and put that single point on the mountain ridge or the rock or whatever part of the image I want for landscape, then it's acting as a one shot, and if I let it go like that, then it'll stay where I left it. That's also really powerful for wildlife though, with birds. If you're shooting through yucky branches and you know whatever, there's a lot of grass or reeds or anything like that, and you're just having trouble with any of the AF stuff, being able to switch it back to single point and to basically effectively have it to be one shot, that'll help a lot. And just for me, it's the most comfortable for the AF on. And then I can move over right here. It's a very subtle movement, but I like that the R5 and the R5.2 and the R6.2 have this ridge right here to help you go up, unlike the R7, which drove me nuts. That helps it to where you don't have to take your eye off, and you can get this muscle memory to feel for when you hit that star button. And the star button is what I'll use for all my wildlife, for the IAF. And as long as you're in AI servo, which is how we set it up, and you press and you have it set like I do, as long as I'm holding this star button down, it's going to continuously track the subject, the bird, the animal, whatever. And this is what I use for bird in flight too. No longer do I use an area focus, because holding this down, if it can't see the eye, it will just track the bird as a whole. It will track the subject in the sky, and it'll use the whole thing. For me personally, that's worked really well. So that's how I'm gonna roll with this. This is gonna be the star button. Anytime I'm holding that down, the IAF is engaged, and it's going to be tracking and following that subject as best it can. If and when that messes up, because even as wonderful as this new camera is, and like the R6 II, the R3, when they mess up, that's when you let go and you use the single point, and you can either hit it with the single point and you can hold it down and it'll AF servo on the single point, or that'll kind of like reset it, you know, and then you can go back to the star button and then hopefully try to grab on to your subject again. So that's how I roll with that. And then with this guy, this is the DOF button here. For me, again, with how my hands are, I can use my ring finger right here, and it just perfectly sets to where I can just click that. And when I click that, it'll open up the crop thing, and I can select 1.6 crop ratio. That'll put it in crop mode for me with one click. And then that's when those instances when I feel like I need a little more reach. That is highly subjective on whether or not you feel comfortable enough to use crop mode. I've made many videos about it. I've talked about it a lot. My personal philosophy on cropping is that I will crop to 2160 on the vertical edge, no matter the ratio, and that'll give me an image that's large enough to fit 100% on a 4K screen. So that's just my little crop rant, but that's just how I do it. And putting the DOF button for my crop ratio, it's been kind of a game changer on the R5. So I'm going to keep that tradition going. All right, well, hopefully that helps. That's just kind of a glimpse into how I set up my R5 Mark II for wildlife and landscape and all that stuff. If you have any questions or things you want to see, like about the video, or any of the more technical stuff, or anything that I like glaringly missed, which is definitely possible, leave those in the comments below and I will definitely answer them. If you want to stick around for a minute, I'm gonna go run out right now and see if I can get anything this evening, just around some of my local trails and stuff, maybe some cactus wrens, something cool. And if I get anything, I'll put some of that up, both the video and the photos. But otherwise, if you're still here, I really appreciate it. Hit that like button for me. That's the best thing you can do for the channel. If you want to come learn this stuff with me hands-on, or if you want to try it out for yourself, or if you want to try out this big, beautiful prime back there, come check out a workshop with me. I've got private workshops for Bosque and Central New Mexico, cranes, snow geese, all the winter stuff. It's going to be phenomenal. It always is. I've got a few spots late November. I've got a couple spots, I'm going to go with mid to late December, and then I've got a bunch of spots in January open. I've got Scotland, May 2025 for east coast of Scotland, puffins, seabirds, gannets, all kinds of amazing things. You can come learn with me hands-on if you have, it doesn't matter what kind of gear you have, but if you're here for an R5 II and you have that kind of stuff, or if you want to try one out while you take a workshop with me, then all of this stuff is here for you, as am I. You can sign up my newsletter. You can sign up for my newsletter on my website. That'll give you a bunch of info. That'll keep you up to date on the workshops and anything new that comes up, or spots that are open. All right, I'm really ready to go shoot some birds in the face, so I'll see you out there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.